When Universal's Halloween Horror Nights began in 1991, it wasn't even called Halloween Horror Nights. It was known as Fright Nights. And for years, Halloween Horror Nights relied on familiar faces to represent the event. It wasn't until the year 2000 that Universal finally created an icon they could truly call its own. Or in this case, its own clown.
Not afraid of the dark? You don't know Jack. Look out for the new Halloween Horror Nights 10, only at Universal Studios.
Did you miss me?
To understand how Jack the Clown became Halloween Horror Nights' greatest icon, we have to first travel back to where it all began in 1991. The then-named Fright Nights was Halloween Horror Nights' first event. It only ran for 3 nights and had one haunted house. But there was one problem. The event had no identity. Like any new event, Universal needed a recognizable face to convince guests to come experience Fright Nights. In the middle of the marketing campaign for Fright Nights was Beetlejuice, alongside the Universal monsters. At the time, the original Beetlejuice movie was only a few years old, and he was still a massive hit for guests inside the park, so it made sense. Guests already knew who Beetlejuice was, and seeing him front and center gave Fright Nights an instantly recognizable face. As the event continued to grow throughout the early 90s, Universal began pushing Halloween Horror Nights towards something darker. For Halloween Horror Nights' 5th anniversary in 1995, that shift was becoming clear. Instead of relying on Beetlejuice, Universal introduced a new face to help represent the event. Television's master of ceremonies, the Crypt Keeper.
Hello, kiddies! Crypt Keeper here, Master of Ceremonies at Universal Studios, all new Halloween Horror Nights. With new haunted houses to die for, you'll make some new fiends, play a starring role in a killer show, and lots more.
Don't miss the last 2 weekends of terror!
The Crypt Keeper fit the tone Universal was chasing, better than Beetlejuice ever could. But despite the change, one thing had it. Halloween Horror Nights was still borrowing someone else's horror icon, and Universal still hadn't created one of its own. As Halloween Horror Nights continued to grow, Universal kept experimenting with what the event could become. From 1996 to 1999, each year brought a new theme, a new experience, and a new face to represent the event. But the pattern stayed the same. Halloween Horror Nights was still searching for an icon of its own. By the year 2000, Halloween Horror Nights became one of Universal's biggest events. But despite nearly a decade of success, it was still missing one thing: an identity. As the event prepared to celebrate its 10th anniversary, Universal made a decision that would change Halloween Horror Nights forever. After years of borrowing horror icons, it was time Universal created an icon of its own. An icon specifically for Halloween Horror Nights, and Halloween Horror Nights alone.
Not afraid of the dark? You don't know Jack. Look out for the new Halloween Horror Nights 10, only at Universal Studios. Florida residents save $10 with a specially marked 2-liter Coca-Cola Classic label or coupon from a participating Taco Bell.
For the first time, Halloween Horror Nights had something it never had before, a character created specifically for the event. The question was, why a clown? The answer came from understanding what truly scares people. After Halloween Horror Nights 9, Universal surveyed guests about their biggest fears. One answer came up the most: clowns. Universal took that fear and transformed it into something guests had never seen before.
We did a lot of discussions about what scare people, and the number one phobia, hands down, is a fear of clowns. People are just scared of what's underneath that makeup. So we took that and created what we think is the scariest clown ever seen.
That's music to my ear.
What we found out today with seeing people's reaction to Jack is that we're right on the mark. This Halloween, I think, is going to be the most extreme and the most scary that we've had up to this point.
Bringing Jack the Clown to life was Universal performer James Keaton, the man who would become the face behind the character for years to come.
The thing that we did in 2000 has now become this giant thing, because I could just remember how small it all started with, hey, we're going to going to test something on you. And it's this new character, and it was kind of vague, and they're still putting it together. And I just like, okay, sure, I'll do it, And then you leave, and you keep on working, and then here we are.
At first glance, Jack may have looked like just another creepy clown, but behind the smile was a twisted origin story that would become one of the most recognizable stories in Halloween Horror Nights history. Because before he was Jack the Clown, he was John Smith. Born in the late 1800s alongside his younger brother Eddie, Jack grew up in an abusive home before running away to join Dr. Oddfellow's Carnival of Thrills. There he became a clown, entertaining children with jokes, pranks, and comedy routines. But behind the smile and behind the makeup was something far more twisted. As the carnival traveled from town to town, children began mysteriously disappearing. Before long, authorities realized the disappearances all followed the same disturbing pattern. Every trail led back to Jack. On Halloween night in 1920, police were closing in on Dr. Oddfellow's Carnival of Thrills. Jack panicked and turned to Dr. Oddfellow for help. It was then that Jack revealed his horrifying secret. Hidden inside 3 trunks were the bodies of the 13 missing children. Fearing for what Jack might do next, Dr. Oddfellow made a decision of his own. He had Jack killed. But Jack didn't go down without a fight. Before he died, Jack slashed Dr. Oddfellow across the face, leaving behind a scar that would follow him forever, spilling his blood into Jack's. With Jack finally dead, Dr. Oddfellow hid his body. For decades, Jack's body remained hidden, until 1980 when a documentary crew investigating abandoned attractions discovered the forgotten carnival. Inside, they uncovered the remains of Jack Schmidt and the legend of the Clown Killer. Years later, pieces of the House of Horrors eventually made their way to Universal Orlando. During Halloween Horror Nights 10, a security guard decided to test the legend for himself, unknowingly unleashing Jack the Clown on Halloween Horror Nights. With Jack finally unleashed, Halloween Horror Nights had officially introduced its first original icon, and during Halloween Horror Nights 10, Jack was everywhere. He was featured in the event's marketing, from TV commercials to merchandise, and even had his own house. Located in Soundstage 22, next to Total Chaos, was Anxiety 3D. After the success of previous 3D houses, Universal decided to bring another one to Halloween Horror Nights. And look, it was the early 2000s, 3D was cool, but Anxiety 3D wasn't just another 3D house. It tied directly into Jack's story, as he created a malfunctioning video game designed to play on humanity's biggest fears. With the massive success of Jack and Halloween Horror Nights 10, Universal was already looking into year 11. With Halloween Horror Nights 11 on the horizon, it was time Universal tried to create another horror icon for the event. Who better than Jack's brother, Eddie?
Hi, remember me? The name's Eddie. Now my brother's bringing me back, and I'm coming back with a couple of friends. Don't worry, I'm still a little bitter about the whole thing, but we'll square this off one way or another.
Eddie was set to become the next major icon for Halloween Horror Nights and tie more into Jack's story. But due to the events of the September 11th terror attacks, Universal had to rethink the entire event, including the icon. So who better to take over than Jack? Instead of Eddie taking over, Horror Nights brought Jack back.
Jack is back, and he's more horrifying than ever.
Do you think he's here tonight?
Oh, he's here. Somewhere.
It's Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. 5 new haunted houses and new live shows. Florida residents save up to $15 with advanced ticket purchase with a valid Florida ID.
Halloween Horror Nights 11 featured 5 haunted houses, including Run, Pitch Black, Scary Tales, Superstitions, and The Mummy Returns. The curse continues. And while Jack wasn't the focus of every house, his presence was everywhere throughout the event. After all, this was no longer just Jack's return. It was the beginning of Jack becoming a permanent part of Halloween Horror Nights. With Jack back, Universal had proven an original icon could work. Over the next few years, Halloween Horror Nights would introduce even more original icons. In 2002, for Halloween Horror Nights 12, Universal moved the event from Universal Studios to Islands of Adventure, creating Islands of Fear. And with the move came a new icon, Dr. Albert Kane, better known as the Caretaker, a respected surgeon who became obsessed with the human body, eventually turning his mortuary into a place for horrifying experiments. For the following year, in 2003, Halloween Horror Nights returned to Islands of Adventure and introduced my personal favorite icon, Paolo Ravinsky, better known as the Director, a deranged filmmaker who believed true art required real suffering and death. In 2005, for Halloween Horror Nights 15, we met the Storyteller, a seemingly sweet grandmother who turned classic childhood stories into horrifying nightmares. And just like that, Halloween Horror Nights had gone from having one original icon to having an entire lineup. By 2006, Halloween Horror Nights had grown far beyond the one icon Universal created 6 years earlier. The event was turning 16, and for the first time, Universal decided to bring its original icons together for one massive celebration.
Turn 16. 4 of the most horrifying figures return to Universal Studios for a Halloween homecoming you won't want to miss. Come, celebrate the nightmare.
Universal called this milestone anniversary Horror Comes Home. It marked the event's permanent return to Universal Studios Florida. Of course, it wouldn't be a true celebration without Jack. Jack took over the biggest soundstage in the park, in his house, Psycho Scarapy Maximum Madness. The iconic clown hijacked the infamous Shady Brook Asylum, leading a violent uprising within. Jack let the criminally insane completely overrun the facility, creating a gauntlet of pure, frantic chaos. But Jack wasn't a solo act. To celebrate 16 years, Universal surrounded him with his fellow original icons, each anchoring their own reimagined legacy house. The caretaker returned to unearth Scream House, Resurrection, the director rolled the cameras on All Night Die-In Take 2, and the storyteller spun dark folklore in the Dungeon of Terror Retold. To officially open the gates each night, Universal brought all 4 icons together for a massive stage show called The Arrival. Robed cultists dumped the ashes of post-events into a giant cauldron, summoning a massive horned creature known as the Lord of Darkness. With a roaring incantation, he unleashed the icons onto the stage, challenging them to see who could terrorize the guests the most. The Arrival gave fans the unlimited horror crossover, officially kicking off the chaotic night ahead. While fans in 2006 cheered for the ultimate crossover, nobody realized the terrifying truth. This gathering wasn't just a gimmick. It was the ultimate foreshadowing. Years later, Universal would reveal that these individual monsters were actually serving a singular ancient creature known as Fear. When Fear finally manifested, he claimed these icons as his chosen heralds, revealing that each one represented a specific element force of terror.
And then we thought about it and we realized that all of our icons have kind of paved the way for him. With Jack and how chaotic he is, and the caretaker being obsessed with death. The sacrifices that the director forces people to make when they do their thing, the vengeance of the usher, the storyteller and how she proposes legend. And we knew that we needed a character that was going to encompass all of those aspects. The five icons all serve a purpose because Fear is based on those 5 principles.
The storyteller was the herald of legend, manipulating the dark fables of the past. The director was the herald of sacrifice, capturing the final moments of his victims on film. The caretaker was the herald of death, ruling over the physical transition into the grave. And Jack? Jack was the crowned herald of chaos. He was the unpredictable, unhinged spark that drove the entire engine of Fear forward. While the 2006 crossover united him with cosmic forces like Fear, Jack was still tethered to his mortal past. Because somewhere out in the dark, the man who had murdered him decades earlier was still watching, Dr. Oddfellow. In 2007, Jack reached a new peak of power by hosting Halloween Horror Nights 17, Carnival of Carnage. He even brought a new co-star into the spotlight. This year marked the grand debut of Chance, Jack's maniacal right-hand partner. Chance was brought to life by Universal performer Erin Nicole Klein.
In 2007, I came in as very much a side character, never intended to be more. And because the universe wanted it so, and because, I worked hard for it and I loved her, she's now alongside of this guy. And And I'm just so proud.
She instantly transformed his dynamic acting as the perfect sadistic sidekick to his brutal ringmaster persona. Their dark chemistry took center stage every night in Jack's Carnival of Carnage, a live show where the duo tortured helpless audience members. The madness spilled into the sound stages with Jack's Funhouse in 3D, a hallucinatory maze of neon terror. Oh my god, quit with the 3D houses, nobody likes them. With Chance by his side, Jack had officially cemented his empire of chaos. setting a massive stone before the true ringmaster of Halloween Horror Nights would return. Over the following years, Halloween Horror Nights continued to expand their icons, introducing icons like the Usher, and Universal even went back to their roots with the IP icon with Bloody Mary. Jack would make his big return for Halloween Horror Nights 25 in 2015 with the tagline Jack's Back. Halloween Horror Nights was celebrating its silver anniversary, bringing Chance right back by his side. The duo unleashed the Carnage Returns, a live stage show that turned extreme gore into stadium entertainment. Jack proved once again that he was the undisputed king of the event, but the spotlight wasn't big enough for the two. By 2016, the dynamic changed forever. For Halloween Horror Nights 26, the ringmaster stepped aside, and Chance claimed the throne for herself.
Lock me away. It's all just a show. I'll make you pay. And won't let you go. While Jack's away, it's my turn to dance. My turn to play. You won't stand a chance.
Chance was featured in her own house, the Haunted Lunatics Playground 3D. You won't stand a chance. Oh my god, again with the 3D houses. Please stop. I'm begging. She also had her own scare zone titled A Chance in Hell, where she would make appearances throughout the night. We wouldn't see Jack return front and center until Halloween Horror Nights 30, but our story doesn't end here. Back in 2007, when Jack stole the Cane of Souls to launch his Carnival of Carnage, he thought he had murdered his old circus master, Dr. Oddfellow. He was wrong. In 2023, for Halloween Horror Nights 32, the Ultimate Puppet Master finally stepped into the spotlight. For Halloween Horror Nights 32, Universal decided to keep Dr. Oddfellow as a secret. He wouldn't appear in any commercials or any type of advertisement until the opening night of Halloween Horror Nights during the opening ceremonies.
Hear my voice, Halloween Horror Nights. I am Dr. Oddfellow. I've been watching you. For years I've seen you shaking in fear, yet begging for more. You practically worship those who stood here before me. Doctors, directors, even clowns. But I don't want your worship. I want what you want. So what is that? Fear, horror? I promise these can unhinge your soul and prepare you for something more. Power, immortality. That is what I'm offering. Enter now, as this horror night begins!
Halloween Horror Nights 32 wasn't just another year with another icon. It was a total takeover by Dr. Oddfellow himself. After decades of waiting in the shadows, the immortal ringmaster took center stage, driving the central theme for the entire event. At the heart of it all was his featured house, Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. Guests were dragged back to the Dust Bowl era, walking straight through his traveling circus, to witness firsthand how he harvested human souls, cheated death, and birthed the dark magic that created Jack. Oddfellow didn't stay confined to a single soundstage. His influence bled out into the streets, connecting all 5 scare zones across the park into one continuous art. From the grotesque specimen and collection of horror, to the dark ritualistic power of Dark Zodiac, every corner of Halloween Horror Nights 32 was designed to showcase his path to immortality. Oddfellow wasn't living in Jack's shadow anymore. He was the architect behind the nightmare, by binding the entire event to his dark magic. Halloween Horror Nights 32 proved that the master was just as terrifying as the monster he created, that he belonged at the top of the icon hierarchy, and it set the ultimate stage for what was to come next. Which brings us to right now, Halloween Horror Nights 35. Back in March, I was lucky enough to be in the room at MegaCon when Universal dropped the first massive announcement for Halloween Horror Nights 35. And that announcement, Jack is back, and so is Dr. Oddfellow.
We are going to bring to you Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando's 35th year. We will bring the Ringmasters of Fear.
Yeah!
After decades of lore, betrayal, and bloodshed, these legendary enemies have officially joined forces for this year's event. Not only are they co-headlining the event, but they are also sharing the spotlight in their very own house, Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control.
Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control. We are going to walk through the very beginnings through Oddfellow's voice. Okay, Mike, you gotta keep me honest here, because I'm just going to talk. Go for it. So, when you go through the haunted house, we are going to hear the narration of Oddfellow telling us the story, the origin story of Jack, from his perspective, as Jack goes through this carnival on this killing spree. And of course, a lot of you know that history. It brought the police to that place, and then in desperation, Oddfellow had to seal him inside the box. Let's stop right there, because there's a new little twist, something that we've discovered. We all know that Oddfellow can go from place to place, right? He's a time traveler, go to different dimensions. He's taken over many different places, and we kind of coined the term for that, the Oddverse. And he has these different portals that he goes through. Well, the box was one of those portals. And again, I don't think my words are enough. Let's show some artwork that we were working on here that kind of demonstrates the story as we go through. Jack gets sucked into the Oddverse, and Oddfellow goes into this dimensional world that he owns and tortures Jack. But Jack being Jack and being full of chaos, the battle begins because the power shifts, and Jack kind of starts to understand the Oddverse and how to manipulate things. And as we go through the haunted house, we'll see this battle ensue, back and forth, one taking the power, the next. Let's bring up the next one, because this shows when Jack takes over here.
I love this Easter egg too. If you know, in 2000 we had a show called Jacked Up. That's the logo for that show.
A lot of little Easter eggs. In fact, I won't tell you where this takes place, because that's giving away too much, but it's a place a lot of you know in our history. And within this Oddverse, anything can happen. Characters can shift and change. Locations can be like an amalgamation of different things as we go through.
According to senior show director Charles Gray, the house dives deep into the heart of their rivalry. You'll get caught in the middle as these two icons clash inside the Oddverse, the pocket dimension where Oddfellow draws his dark powers, and where Jack was trapped inside his box for all those years. Charles explains that after battling with each other for years, Jack and Oddfellow finally realize that their fear divided is fear diluted. By combining Jack's pure chaos with Oddfellow's absolute control, they can completely remake the world in their image. And the team up doesn't stop inside the house. These two are taking over the streets with their own dedicated scare zones. Right at the front entrance, you'll step into the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares, where Jack and Oddfellow invite you to step right up and see what horrors are lurking in the shadows. Over in Hollywood, things get even deeper into the lore with Oddfellow's Sideshow of Decay. This one is set in a carnival junkyard, run by none other Sidney Kane. And if that name sounds familiar, that's because Sidney Kane is the caretaker's daughter. Throughout this entire scare zone, you'll find incredible Easter eggs and nods honoring the iconic characters from Halloween Horror Nights past. Finally, over in the streets of New York, you'll wander into the madness of downtown Clowntown. And I think we all know whose zone this belongs to. Not only can you find an ice cream truck to represent Chance, but on the ice cream truck you can find a little Easter egg established in 1991 from Fright Nights. So, who do you think the true icon of Halloween Horror Nights really is? Is it Jack? Is it Oddfellow? Or someone else entirely?
So this is my 24th year coming to this event, and my top favorite icon, I'm sure is an OG for a lot, but Jack Schmidt, Jack the Clown, OG.
By default, because he was supposed to have a year. So I'm going to say my favorite is the biggest, the most handsomest Edgar Schmidt. So yeah, I'll give it to Eddie. He's the best icon.
You're saying Eddie is your favorite icon too?
Absolutely. I would say it's Eddie and then tied with Oddfellow because that was my first HHN. So I have to. But like, have you seen how hot he is?
If you're a real one who made it to the very end of this video, drop a comment letting me know who your favorite icon of all time is so I know who the true horror nerds are. If you want to follow along for my Halloween Horror Nights 35 journey this season, go ahead and drop a follow over on Instagram. If you want to see more of my videos, be sure to check out this one up here, or even this one down here. It's one of my favorites. And as always, my name is John, this is the Dumb Theme Park Club, and I will see you guys in the fall.